What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is round number 4 of Season 2 of F1 2018 Career Mode, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. You can see we are starting off the weekend after practice. That's normally what I tend to do. You guys don't really need to see what really goes on in practice. It's really just a grind fest trying to get those resource points. As always, I think we passed most of the programs. I think this time around we actually struggled for the qualifying pace program. And that's always a bad sign of a weekend where you're not quite going to be as strong as what you normally are. The only time that's happened so far this season is Bahrain and now here. So I have a feeling that this round will be a little bit of a struggle, just like Bahrain, but maybe not to so much of a degree as what it was in the second round. Of course, we do have some major downforce upgrades that went on the car, if you guys would have seen from the last episode. So I don't think we'll be struggling as a midfield runner or even a back marker anymore. Those days are well and truly behind us. But I feel like we may be behind the 8 ball, behind our teammate, and maybe at the back end of the top 10. We'll have to wait and see. But now, it's time for quali.
The circuit has rubbed in with practice, but this is still going to be a difficult session for our drivers as they fight for pole position. Welcome to qualifying here in Azerbaijan.
And it could just be that it goes the other way. Sometimes practice grip conditions just aren't representative of what happens in qualifying, but we'll have to wait and see. The AI are always a little bit stronger in qualifying. They're always a little bit stronger in practice than what they are in qualifying. I feel like it gets easier as the weekend goes on to be faster, but I don't know. I feel like one thing in our favor will definitely be the power unit, being the second or maybe even third best now. We haven't upgraded the power unit in a little while, but that should certainly make up for... It's got to count for something here at Azerbaijan, where the back straight is the longest in human history. So we'll wait and see how it goes. This is our first lap in qualifying 1. I decided to wait till the end of the session, give myself the best chance of making it through to Q2. You know, I only wanted to do one run. Like, being a kind of a front-running team now, I feel like, yeah, it's probably best if we manage our tyre sets and leave more for Q2 and Q3 in particular, so that we can really attack. But we got through Q1 just about. 14th place isn't the most stable place to be in, but Charles showing exactly what this Sauber is made of. So again, it's you just never quite know what you're in for when you come to a round of this 2018 Career Mode Series. We make it through by 4/10, so that was fairly secure, but the gap to Charles is again very alarming. As we head into Q2, it's now raining, so maybe that could shake up the order a little bit. This could make us a little bit more competitive. We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, that completely throws tyre strategy out the window now. We can effectively go hell for leather in this qualifying session. I am struggling a little bit because I'm running with low downforce. I believe like 2.4, 2.5 wings, if I remember correctly. So it's going to be interesting. Like, the final corner there is very sketchy on low downforce, and the grip just isn't quite there. All the other corners, they're not too bad. I mean, I'm struggling a little bit for just out-and-out traction. The car seems to be sliding around a little bit, so that seems to be a bit of a problem at the moment. Let's check the weather.
The radar suggests that this heavy rain will be with us for a while now. Full wets seem like the best tyre for now.
Okay, so we went from intermediate conditions right at the start of the session. I put in a time, but I feel like the track was probably already a little bit too wet for intermediates. Now I'm starting to remember what was happening. I then took 2 cool-down laps where I started the lap, didn't go off too well, and then I decided to brake and have another go. But now this is the end of the session. I had a feeling that if we just calm things down a little bit, go again, and if I nailed the lap, I felt like I could have actually improved on my intermediate time, which we look like we're doing at the moment. And I imagine that as we go on, we're going to gain even more time, because at the end of our intermediate lap, the track continued to get wetter and wetter, and it got worse and worse. That's why I was struggling so much in the final corner. Now I'm remembering. You guys think I'm a really good actor for not really, you know, trying to act surprised. Well, half the time I don't even remember what I do in these races. That's half the beauty in it. But anyway, through the final corner again, it's still pretty sketchy through there. 7/10 up as we pretty much done with the lap now. It's all just waiting for about 15 seconds before you cross the line. It's almost the most anticlimactic way to finish a lap on F1 2018, but across the line. Is it good enough for Q3? No, it's not. So in the end there, maybe we didn't get the best of the track conditions there. We miss out by 4/10. Looks like everyone who made it into the 10, with the exception of my teammate, who was mega fast, got in through a time at the start of the session on intermediate tires. So that's just really unfortunate there. So we miss out. For the race, it's going to be dry, so I'm not too concerned about the wet weather pace. It opens up strategy for us. We can do a one-stop for sure, but it's a case of whether we start on the mediums, do we go on the softs? I always get the tyre compounds wrong, so I don't want to get ahead of myself too much, but we could go on the 2 harder compounds and make life a lot easier for us tyre wear wise. But in saying that, I think everyone else can do that as well, so that's kind of out the window. But we don't need to worry about tyre wear, so I guess that's one positive for us. But that's the grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's going to be tough. We've got a fast car with a really good engine strapped to the back of it, so overtaking shouldn't be a problem.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Thanks, Jeff, but with all due respect, I want to be aiming for just a little bit more than just a top 10 finish. We want to be gunning for a top 5 once again. It's Azerbaijan. It is one of the most hectic Grand Prix on the Formula 1 calendar, and you never quite know what you're in for at the start of the race. There could be, well, you've seen the title. You know there's going to be a crash. It's just a case of when it happens, but that's the only spoiler you're getting, all right? Had to get you guys to click on this video somehow. But anyway, we're here for the Grand Prix now. We're getting ready for the formation lap. You know, whenever there's a big crash, you got to make the most of it, don't you? But, you know, you come to expect that here at Azerbaijan. But, yeah, we do have a fast car. We didn't get a true reflection of what the car was like in qualifying. You know, it was just a last-minute effort in Q1. Didn't get a true representation. We could have had multiple attempts at it. Wet weather pace, well, you could arguably say we were pretty crap. We set the car up for the dry and being quick in a straight line. So now that is truly going to come into effect with slipstream, with DRS, that hugely long back straight, start-finish straight, sorry, shall I say, but 5 red lights, and away we go for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The goal for us is really to survive and make sure we get inside the top 5. We need to claw back some points in the championship. We'll continue to find points in the championship. This will be a damage limitation round for sure, given that we started outside the top 10. But anyway, negotiating the first couple of corners. Found 3 spots, which is encouraging to see. Next up are the 2 Force Indias, which are mega fast in a straight line, and hopefully we can use those guys to leapfrog us further up the field. That's a scrape with a wall there as we approach the castle section. No, the crash did not happen on the first lap, which is awfully surprising. Next up in front of Perez is my teammate, so some very quick cars in front of us. The Red Bulls are certainly going to be... Ooh, contact. Car looks fine. Just checking the damage indicator there. Nothing really came up. I even asked the engineer later on in the race, and it was fine. So we got out of jail there. Side-to-side contact with the wall like that is not the best for the car, but thankfully we did survive. Like I said, the Red Bulls I feel like are going to be really under threat today. They might be fast lap time-wise, but if they keep getting overtaken by cars, then they're going to be truly under threat. And I want to finish at least in front of one of the Red Bulls, maybe Ferrari as well, if we're very lucky. But at the moment, we're not really making that good progress. The 2 Force Indias going hammer and tong in these opening 3 laps of the Grand Prix. We just can't really find a way around these guys, despite their fighting. They step it up a notch. This is the first time they battled into the middle sector now, so they're really going to hold each other up now. And we're just going to pick an avenue as soon as it forms. Not forming yet. They're still side by side. I'm waiting for these guys to sort it out, and then we might be able to do something up the inside into the castle section. We don't have the drive there. I was saving fuel at the time because I knew these guys were going to be driving quite slow and pretty much weaving on the straight there because there was no way I could get past. So I was just, I don't know, venting the frustration. I know that the race leaders and my teammate are getting away, and it's going to be increasingly difficult to catch up to them with no slipstream and no one else to really work with, unless these Force Indians start to play ball and think about the team game instead of just personal pride here. But here we go, 3 wide down the straight. That was a pretty easy overtake there. Just was finally close enough to them through the middle sector to be able to stick with them on the straight there, and with overtake we were able to smash past them. So here goes Sergio Perez, stuck behind Ocon for many laps, and then it's more of the same for Sergio. 1 step forward, 1 step back. He's now got up to P8, but then got demoted back to P9 by virtue of us getting past him. But anyway, it's lap 5. Finally punched in a personal best, despite being in clear air there, so that was pretty encouraging. The Force Indies was certainly holding us up. This is Kevin Magnussen, our rival, going really, really slowly. He's got a left front puncture there, and he's just completely staying out of everyone's way, which is really good to see. Oh my goodness, that's a blockage. And Sergio, no, it's not Sergio, it's Ocon. He smashed into the side of Kevin Magnussen, and it looks like they are out of the Grand Prix. So what an unfortunate end for one of the Force Indies and the Haas. This is the replay. Through there, yep, the wheel comes off. I think both cars, but it looked more dramatic on the Haas. But as you can see there, as all the cars were coming back through the field, it was just a huge Constantino effect, nose to tail, pile up for pretty much everyone in the midfield. It keeps going into Grosjean, the Toro Rossos, the McLarens, now the Williams, the back markers, and that is everyone involved in that crash. That Toro Rosso got airborne for a few seconds, and then finally Stoffel Van Dorn comes through to finish it all off. And the safety car has been deployed. There you go. That's the title of the video. Now you know. Now you know what happened. Bloody hell, that was a huge crash. And the fact that they didn't even slow down, despite seeing the pile-up in front of them, they just went full steam ahead. I don't know what was going on there. That was absolutely crazy. But as you can imagine, there are a lot of retirements in the Grand Prix now. Pretty much most of the field is coming into the pit lane to change their front wings. It's absolute mayhem in the pit lane right now at this Azerbaijan circuit. Thankfully, they will be able to get away with this. They'll still stay on the lead lap. They'll be able to catch up to the safety car queue again, given that the safety car stays out another lap or two. They should be fine, but it's really neutralized this race. It's got me out of jail now, and we're free to rejoin on the back of the queue. I believe we actually made a stop. We went onto the soft compound tyres. I can't believe I didn't even touch upon that, but we've gone onto the softs, and with this harder compound on the car now, we are going to go to the end of the Grand Prix, whereas the people in front of us either A, didn't stop, or B, they've stopped and they put on the middle compound of tyre, or the Ultras in Daniel Ricciardo's case. So they all have to make another stop. For us, we are green to the end. Away we go for the restart. We anticipated that really, really well, and we're able to jump Ricciardo by the time we even get to the start-finish line. So that's P7 for us, maybe even P6 if we are feeling ballsy enough and maybe go for a dive on Vettel. I decided against that, and so it's P7 on Ricciardo. Next up is Vettel, like I said. Leclerc is in P4, I believe, knocking on the door of getting a podium in this race, so hopefully he can continue his march up the field. Again, I don't really know what's going on pit stop wise with all the cars in front of us. I'll get an update on that for you guys later, but Ricciardo goes for a dive on his fresh ultra soft tyres, gets the position back briefly, but we hold it around the outside with better traction and just about hold on to P7. So again, the battling continues. Again, the leaders are somewhat getting away, and Ricciardo wants to continue this fight up the inside into this fast left-hander. We're squeezed up against the wall, no less, as well. And it's side-by-side into this downhill left-hander. I hate going side-by-side here. Takes up all the space. And the leaders are gone. Just when I thought we were going to get in the fight to win this race, or at least, you know, knock on the door of a podium, Ricciardo has to go and spoil our party. I decided to finally let him go on that little left-hander that leads onto this really long straight, but now the slipstream is so potent, it's so powerful, the temptation was there, and I just decided to take him back. So it's P7 again. This battle with Ricciardo is personal now, but I decided to, I don't know, I was in two minds with this battle. Like, I wanted to catch up to the guys in front, so I decided to let him go. I wanted to end the fighting, have a bit of a personal truce, and think about the long game. Once I did let Ricciardo go through, I had a bad lap through the middle sector, and he was gone. So he was outside of 1 second DRS. He was massively fast on those ultras, which were 2-3 compounds softer than what I had. Yeah, they're actually 3 compounds softer than what the tyres I had on, so there was no way I was actually gonna English just fails me. Ricardo got away, okay? That's all you need to know, and I was left in this massive void of about 4 seconds to the nearest cars in front. But the one thing we do have in our favour is the fact that we're not stopping again. Everyone else still has to make another stop, so I guess in the end it's not going to make too much of a difference. We're going to have track position at the end, I would say. But it's just frustrating. I wanted to be a bit closer and have more of a margin at the second half of this race, but that's just not the way that it's panned out. But anyway, we are continuing on with our races. Sergio Perez, who is on the super soft tyres. I believe he has to make another stop. I'm not certain on that, but he goes around the outside into turn number 1. Can't quite make that stick, and we hold on to now the effective lead.
Perez is behind you. They're on old super softs. Their tyres are 7 laps old. We think they've got one more stop.
Cheers, Jeff. Yeah, just confirming the situation with Perez. I wasn't sure if he was going to continue to go to the end and whether I was actually fighting Sergio for position. Turns out I'm not. So if I want to and I want to increase the pace, I could let Sergio go. He can punch the hole in the air for me and I can save a little bit of fuel. Speaking of, we still have 0.9 of a lap, so we should be alright. Like, fuel burn is a little bit, it's average, I would say, but with the amount of laps to go, the amount that the guys who have already stopped, the amount that they're catching me, I'm going to have to use a lot of fuel to keep them behind me and keep the lap time up. But in saying that, they're squabbling quite hard here for the podium positions. This is Valtteri Bottas and my teammates going side by side for many portions of the lap, and that's Grosjean getting involved. I don't know what he's doing there. He hasn't made his final stop yet, and he's Malcolm in the middle here, just getting tangled up with everyone. He puts Bottas in the wall. The Ferraris have followed him in as well, and they've lost all of their wings as well. What the hell is this Azerbaijan Grand Prix? It's absolutely nutty. Goodbye to the front wing of Kimi Räikkönen, and he's definitely got damage. I think Sebastian Vettel got off a little bit lighter. Though in saying that, I still think he's chipped off a bit of his front wing as well. So that's 3 contenders for this race victory out of the picture. So now it leaves Leclerc. I don't know what's happened to Hamilton. He seems to be nowhere in this race. And Bottas is still there. He was put in the wall, but I don't think he's got front wing damage, so he might be okay. So this is the battle for the podium. Myself versus my teammate versus Bottas, and Hamilton now makes his fastest lap of the race. So Hamilton was involved in that crash with the Ferraris then, from what it seems like, and he made another stop. That's why he's half a lap back. So now I understand the picture a little bit better. There's 8 laps to go now. The guys behind me, after they kind of stopped battling so much, they got their heads down and they started lapping about a second a lap faster than us, and in no time at all they were able to catch up. So this is the fight for the win. It's going to be mega tough. You can see we've burnt through another 0.3 of a lap in terms of our fuel. We're pretty much running with Rich and overtake on the straights to really keep these guys at bay, and then saving all of my battery through the middle sector. That seems to be the best way to go about things. You don't really lose too much time by running in no ERS deployment through the middle sector. But we just want to make sure that we maintain track position. We deploy all of the battery down the straight, and that seems to be the best defensive method for us at the moment. Charles managed to get past Valtteri Bottas once again, but it's a bit of a to and fro battle at the moment. It's just a case of, who has slipstream, who has DRS out of the 2 of those guys. It constantly changes just about every lap, but there's now 5 laps to go. Unfortunately, I got a message from Jeff saying that there was a problem with Charles's car. I think most likely Charles got some damage off of Valtteri Bottas at some point, and now he's dropping off the back of him, but I can't 100% confirm that, but he's falling back a little bit. He's now 2.8 seconds back, so that's really unfortunate for Charles. Hopefully he can still finish on the podium. That Red Bull, I think of Verstappen, is really closing in fast, so it might be an uphill battle for him to get a double podium for Sauber. But for us, this is still the fight for the lead. This is us versus the Mercedes. We are pretty much level in terms of engine performance. The only thing that separates us now is, I'd say tyre wear would be better than Mercedes, the chassis would be better, and of course aero, I think might be even. It might be very even between us and the Mercedes, so the chassis is probably the only deciding factor of car performance, and of course the fresher tyres that Valtteri's got on at the moment. Around the outside through turn 1, Can't quite make that stick. There's a ton of F1 car just parked on the apex of turn 1 that is going to prevent him from going around the outside. But yeah, for the last 3-4 laps especially, Valtteri was really starting to up the pace. I think he had a lot of fuel in reserve after the safety car, so he was burning pretty much all of that, trying to keep the pressure on. And there wasn't a moment in these final 4 laps where I really just had a moment to just chill, to relax. I think going through the castle section where it's only really a one-line corner, that was the only time I was able to relax, but still he's putting on the pressure even further now into this point of the lap, which is the first time and he's done that all race. And now, yeah, he's just whatever point in the circuit, he is always just right there, and we just have him covered off enough in terms of straight line speed to keep him at bay. He goes for a lunge into turn 1 again. Wasn't a great run through there. I think he got pinched on the inside. That gave us a little bit, just a tiny bit of breathing room. I was able to save a little bit more of my fuel, a little bit more of my battery, and cruise just ever so slightly. Give the rear tyres a chance to just breathe a little bit. They were gradually overheating more and more each lap, just trying to extract the lap time out of the car. But now we're getting ready for the final push. It's the last lap of the Grand Prix. Pretty much the second to last corner. Now I take this as the final corner. We need to make sure we get a good exit here, using up all the entrance space, trying to get a nice smooth exit, rich revs, hot lap, burn all of the battery on the run up to the line. And if we can pull this off, this will be our first victory in F1 2018 career mode. Up to overtake now and stay away from the slipstream Bottas. That'll be our first win. This is our first win in F1 2018 career mode. What a race.
You worked hard for that one. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Sauber then for their excellent win today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
A reliable car, that was the most important factor here. This was a real battle of attrition, and you could tell those at the front were trying to find a balance between running their outright pace and taking care of the car to reach the end.
So, here they come out now onto the podium after a thrilling Grand Prix. It just goes to show what a strong position the sport is in, that these independent teams can be so competitive. What a superb victory from the Sauber team.
So there we go. That is the first victory of F1 2018 career mode. I don't know about you guys, it might not have felt like a long time at all, but to me this is kind of what we've been building towards for a very long time. Feels like more like relief more than anything, if that makes sense. We were in a position where we were controlling the race. Ever since everyone came in for their stops, I knew I was in a golden position to win the Grand Prix. The pressure was mounting for a dozen laps by Valtteri and our teammate as well to some degree. And to be honest, I kind of just felt more relieved more than excited more than anything, because it was over. I didn't have to stress about keeping it behind anymore. But that was a really, really tough race. Trying to keep Valtteri behind. He was really upping the pace. I used all of my fuel to keep him behind. The tyres were not great. And when you look at what happened last race, we came oh so close to winning that Grand Prix against Lewis Hamilton. Today we get the victory. And yeah, it was just really relieved, to be honest. But that's our first win. Let's talk to Claire.
Great work out there today. How do you think it went? You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret? You took the top points today. Was it a comfortable win? Well, looks like your luck has changed. Things went a lot better than last weekend, didn't they? Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today? Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Claire. To you, that seemed like just another interview, which is a little bit silly. Given that we just won the bloody race, those questions were a little bit, out of place. I think maybe going forward I might include less questions, or I might only include like questions that are actually relevant to what actually happened in the career mode episode, you'll have to let me know on that one, but that was far from a comfortable victory. She certainly didn't watch the race, and I didn't struggle getting through the traffic. The traffic kind of all got out of my way anyway, but there we go. That's our first Grand Prix victory of F1 2018 career mode. If you enjoyed it, make sure you smash that like button until, I don't know, until it disappears, until it's not there anymore. We have a contract renewal. Pretty good timing as well, given that we just won the race. We can really, you know, up our contract meta and kind of justify the value to the team by asking for more. I went for like level 3 on everything. Still, even that wasn't good enough, so I had to turn down the pit stop efficiency, which I didn't really care about anyway. And as such, the team were happy with it.
All right, the terms have been agreed. All that's left is to sign the paperwork. You'll be on this new deal from the next race weekend.
So this is the best contract I believe I've had to date. Level 3 in terms of resource points, we get maximum resource points. We can upgrade 3 components at the same time within one department, which, you know, I don't think I'll ever have the resource points to do anyway if I wanted to. And I think every single upgrade now is reduced by 1 week. So whether it be minor, whether it be major, whether it be ultimate, which you can see right there, we are able to do. And we're going to go for it, actually. A ultimate weight reduction upgrade to the chassis, and that'll be on the car in time for the Canadian Grand Prix, a track that is, I'd say, fairly important in terms of chassis. There's a lot of slow speed corners there, tough on the rear tires, and having a good one will help make the balance of the car feel a lot nicer. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen by the time we get to the Canadian Grand Prix. We're already pretty fast right now, albeit maybe a little bit off the front-running pace of some of those cars, but with that ultimate upgrade going on the car, with others going on as well, whether it be, I don't know, more downforce, whether we upgrade the power unit in between time, because Canada is a good, what, 3 weeks away? We can do a lot of work in that time. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. I did have the option to upgrade the tire wear. We had that fail at the start of the episode. I don't think I mentioned that. And we also had a rear downforce upgrade. That has failed as well. But I'm going to target that in the next episode. By the time we have all those upgrades on, I think we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next episode, the Spanish Grand Prix. I'll see you next time.